brutal Tuesday nights in the NBA. Did us dirty on a couple of games, and it was all topped off by a bad beat in Sacramento. We were down by as much as 24. They go all the way back just to lose by the hook on the spread. So rough 0 for 4 night last night in the NBA. We got a pretty good slate tonight to try and get it back. And John, I know not the happiest of campers today. Any takeaways from last night?
No, totally not happy. But hey, guys, this is what happens. And we address it. So it's 0 for 4 last night. We went Charlotte Hornets plus 11.5. They had success against the Knicks. Not this year. They had lost both meetings this year, but they had won 3 of their last 5 trips. We talked about Barrett. Just hasn't been the same since he'd been dealing with the migraine headaches. And he certainly wasn't the same last night. Just another terrible night from R.J. Barrett. The problem was we thought Rozier and Bridges would pick up the slack left by LaMelo Ball, and they just did not. Rozier goes for 22 and 9 in the game against Orlando and comes with a dud. Bridges had 56 and 20 in the combined in the last 2 games, and he comes with a dud. Just offense was disappeared totally for Charlotte. We'll reevaluate that Hornet team. So take the L there. Take the L also with the Bulls. And that look, we're only as good as the information we get. So if you tell us Zach LaVine's going to play, we're anticipating, because Zach LaVine had been listed questionable for the last week or so now. His 2 prior games against Brooklyn and Toronto being listed questionable combines for 56 points. Last night, questionable. They tell us he's playing. We jump into plus 14. That line goes to 12.5. Again, that's where the sharps were. I know the after guys, Boston's going to pile. Yeah, I know they're going to pile it on if they can. They hadn't. In their previous 5 meetings, Bulls had won 2 of them outright and covered all 5, previous 5 in Boston. But getting back to Zach LaVine, like I said, scores 56 points to 2 prior games. You tell us he's playing. We expect him to be okay. And he goes 1 for 9. Now, they got beat by 30, and I don't know if I agree with the hacker Drummond up 30 just to make this in-season tournament. Maybe come up with a better thing than point differential, cheapen the game. But anyway, that's what happened. Right side, guys, plus 14, line closes 12.5. And I know you guys get tired of hearing that, especially during a losing streak, but it is what it is. This is what had to beat the bookie, or now the Massa Edge is. Put you on the sharp side at the sharp number. Same thing with the total Houston-Dallas game. Very rarely do I have a 2-unit total bet. Absolutely love the total. And when the first half ended at 104, I was about to light the cigar. But a ridiculous 3rd and 4th quarter. Then I think they scored 7 points in the last 8 seconds. Capped, hey, again, this is all you could do. As far as the Sacramento game, money line, we had some guys question the money line, and you guys have all the right to do so. Last Sunday, we bet Cavs minus 120, and if I could have laid 120 money line again, I would have. The money line on yesterday's game at the time we laid Sac was minus 125. So I've been posed the question, well, if you're betting $10, guys, if you're betting $10, and I'm not here to unit shame you, if that's your unit, probably shouldn't be betting. And I want you guys to be members, but if you're only betting $10, it's not how much money you're going to win or lose, but it's the percent of your bankroll. So the percent of your bankroll, if you got $1,000 bankroll, it's the same percent of my bankroll at $100,000 bankroll. If you guys understand that, so if you're just still laying bad numbers with a smaller bankroll, you have a bigger chance to go bust quicker than I do. So yes, minus 120 is worth better than laying 1.5 points, while laying 1.5 is slightly better than laying minus 125. And I told the guys in the chat, I didn't mean to be rude, but what I'm trying to tell you guys, it would make my job easy to lay 125, lay 130 if it's 2, lay 140 if it's 2.5. It's easier for my winning percentage is going to go up, but it's not. But it's going to affect your bottom line at the end of the day. So it was one of those days that I knew that they was going to fall one when I saw the comeback. I'm like, yeah, Kings are going to win by one, and then sure did by that. Look, it's like, I guess, any addict, alcoholic, they say you got to hit rock bottom. I believe yesterday was rock bottom. I don't think it gets any fucking worse than that. This NBA is my best season. We beat the numbers continuously. And again, I tell you guys all the time, it just comes down to math. It's a numbers game. As we saw yesterday, any number could fall. It's not like NFL, like most of your games are going to fall on that 3 or the 7. Here it's the NBA. A 6 could fall, a 3 could fall, a 9 could fall, any number. Every half point is an edge. That's what we're going to continue to build on. And once again, as I could say, November is a disaster for NBA. Ain't going to get any worse than this. We'll get on top of it. We got a couple of games left this weekend, and then we're going to have this in-season tournament. Maybe this affected numbers. We'll see. This is the first time that I'm ever up against this, how players are looking at it, how coaches are coaching for it. So this is our first thing. We got, as I said, we've got games for the rest of this week. And then basically there's no games next week except this in-season tournament playoff. So we'll be on top of that. And then by the time we bounce back, we come back in December. We'll have things really figured out. We'll beat the NBA just as we always do. Sorry for the rough start. But let's get going, Ben. Let's start hitting this NBA up now.
Yeah, speaking of the in-season tournament, those 4 games going to be Celtics, Pacers, Pelicans, Kings, Lakers, Suns, Knicks, Bucks. I don't know if you have any immediate thoughts on any of those matchups. Obviously, it'll be nice to see a little bit LeBron versus KD in somewhat of a winner go-home setting, so that should be nice to see. And then as far as a couple of Eastern Conference matchups, I mean, Indiana would, a little bit climbing the spectrum a little bit as one of these younger teams, kind of like OKC, Sacramento, a little bit of that in the Eastern Conference. Can they, make something of themselves here in a good matchup against Boston?
Well, let me first say this for my How to Beat the Bookie members, or we got to get used to saying the Massa Edge members. For my ratings, for the purposes of the tournament, use all the road ratings for these teams. These are road games as far as I'm concerned. They're neutral courts, so it would be road to road. Forget about who's listed on the bottom. If they list Indiana as the home team, then they're not the home team. They're both playing in Vegas. So it would both be all road games. Knicks, really good road team. Maybe a little edge on Milwaukee there. So real good road team there. They've already played in Milwaukee once this year. I think the Knicks gave them a little bit of a fight, so they hung in there. What else we got there? Boston, Indiana. Indiana, look, they're going to be up. They're going to be fighting at that playing level. I don't have them up there. You've got the Celtics and they stand alone. You've got the Bucks. And then you've got your Knicks, your Cavs. Below that, it's going to be your Miami Heat. Love what the Magic are doing. Let's step up the Magic a little bit. Philly. Philly is right with Milwaukee Bucks also. So those are your teams. Pacers are down. Pacers, Hawks. Those teams are going to be fighting out for those final playing spots. They're fun to watch. Scoring $140 in games, so I get that, but I don't have them as a solid team yet at that next level. They're not in the Celtics category. Really, not many teams in the NBA are. Boston Celtics are by far the best team in NBA right now, and that's with Porzingis even out right now, and I still have them the best team. And this is a team, as we had talked about even before the season started, very thin. I believe right now, second lowest scoring bench in the NBA. So when you're missing one of your guys and you don't have a deep bench, it becomes even more enhanced. Doesn't matter. They just win, especially at home. But on the road's been a little bit different. Off the top of my head, if you're looking at this game, I'm probably looking at the Pacers like a 9-point favorite.
I would be on Indiana in that case if they were a 9-point favorite, or if Boston was a 9-point favorite. Obviously, those lines will come out a little bit later. We'll see how this go, and we'll be keeping up with that. Pretty decent slate tonight. We can dive into this. We got the first game on the card, Wizards at Orlando. Washington has snapped a 9-game losing streak, beating the Pistons, if that really counts for anything. Kuzma, he had a pretty solid game. Then you have this Magic team coming off another win against Charlotte. They've now won 7 in a row. NBA best 14-3 against the spread. Interesting matchup history. They split 4 meetings last year. Magic winning the last 2. Wizards, though, they had won the 7 prior. This game to me is Wizards or nothing. Pretty big number here. I know Orlando's been on this nice win streak. I know they're covering more than anybody in the NBA. Wizards getting it done a bit on the road. 7-3 against the spread. They've been hanging with the numbers. It's the first of a 2-game set here. I would imagine Washington keeps this one close. And I wouldn't be surprised if Wizards win this game outright. After a long losing streak, we start to see those win streaks get bunched together. I think Washington's a live dog tonight.
I'd be shocked if the Wizards beat this one outright. I just would. Orlando's just playing that good at basketball right now. Won and covered 7 straight. Wizards, all they've really done is beat a terrible, absolutely terrible Piston team that they actually owned. Now, this is the type of game that the Wizards have been covering. Double digits or thereabouts, and then just backdooring that number. They did it on the road at the Hawks. They did it on the road at Miami. So this is that type of game that they can backdoor. It's a division game. 10 points, but I think that's right where the number should be. I think it's a fair number. Orlando picking up steam, playing great basketball. I think Orlando's a little pissed that they got knocked out of that playoff by the Celtics, by the season tournament, by the Celtics scoring a ridiculous amount of points. I think they'll be out to prove a point today. I love this young Magic team. Wizards, they're awful. Double digits, I think that's what it should be. I got no dog in this fight.
We have Lakers at Detroit. This Lakers team coming off that big bad loss at Philly, the worst of LeBron's career. He's questionable. Reddish, he expected to return. He's missed the last couple of games. And the Pistons, 14 straight losses, 4-10 against the spread. Lakers have won the last 5 meetings. This is a game Lakers should get up and get here. They're going to need it. As far as getting blown out in the last game, there's no better chicken soup you could ask for than the Detroit Pistons right now. Just can't win a game for their life. So as long as LeBron's in, I will not have any interest in Detroit at this game. If LeBron's out, depending on how low they go, could be interested. But as we've seen with the Pistons, what do they have? Games with Jokic out didn't matter. Guys have rested against them all season long. Hasn't mattered. Lakers are nobody, especially if it keeps dropping if LeBron's out.
Yeah, he is legitimately questionable. We actually laugh when they list LeBron questionable every day, but tomorrow they play at OKC. So he's going to be a question mark today. Does LeBron play in the back-to-back? LeBron took his worst loss ever against Philly the other night. Only thing so maybe he wants to get back on the court and get that bad taste out of his mouth. Just Pistons, as I was just saying about the against the Wizards. This is a terrible team. We thought they were going to make a little step up this year. This kid Doran looks good. Cunningham coming back his next year would pick up the pace a little bit. And so they've got some nice pieces.
I thought bringing in Monty Williams was going to be huge too. I thought similar to Udoka in Houston, I thought we would see that here.
It's not translating. I like Monty Williams as a coach. Some of these coaches, man, they run them out like McMillan at Atlanta. McMillan was a good coach. But look, the stars run the show. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to this game, I would love to take the Pistons at a plus number if LeBron's out. Why? Why do I want to catch a falling knife? We talk about this all the time. So we're at now. What are we at, Ben? 14 straight losses.
14.
4-10 against the spread. Want no part of it. And then just if LeBron's out, really. Do I want the Lakers on the front end of a back-to-back? The only thing is they've got that bounce back now. They've won 5 straight of the meetings, but Detroit covered 3 of the 5, and Detroit Pistons are 5-2, 6-1 against the spread last 7 meetings in Detroit. It's another one of those games I just got no interest in.
Then we have Suns at Toronto. Suns coming off a nice win at the Garden. Booker hits the game-winning three in that one. He had a big game. Kevin Durant, Grayson Allen both missed that. They're questionable. Got to see what's going on with those two guys. Raptors coming out of back-to-back. They lose at Brooklyn last night. Brutal night shooting. They're now 5-2 against the spread, 3-4 straight up their last 7. Phoenix. I mean, obviously, you guys see what's going on with Kevin Durant here and Grayson Allen. I liked Suns a bit more at the opener. It's gone up a bit here. I'm kind of hoping Kevin Durant's out, so it goes back down. They are the NBA best, 7-2 straight up on the road. And if I can get this line back down closer to 1 with Kevin Durant out, as long as Booker's in this game, Booker, everything for this team, best offensive, best playmaker. He was a game high plus 15 in that game against the Knicks. Started off shooting horrible. Everything opened up there. As long as he's in the lineup, this Suns team's getting it done, and that's good enough for me. So Suns are nobody here for me, John.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about Suns in this spot is who they have next. They go home and they get Nuggets next. That's who knocked them out of the playoffs last year. That's their measuring stick. 7 straight wins just might be a little letdown. Last of the road trip. All right, let's get ready for Denver. KD missing a couple of games. If he comes back, let's just tune him up and have him ready for Denver. That look ahead, guys, that look ahead spot it's a big spot. That's why we always talk about it. So that's what I feel Phoenix is in. Toronto, bad game last night at Brooklyn. They were playing decent basketball up till then. A hard-fought game. Hard-fought game at Cleveland. The night before that, a tough loss. They took a nice win at Indiana. I think they come home. They play better at home. I think they'll give Phoenix a game right now without the knowledge, because not only KD, but you got Grayson Allen. He was another starter, both questionable. We'll see who's in the lineup, and we'll see what the line is on the game at that time.
We have 76ers going on to New Orleans, obviously coming off that big win against the Lakers. And Embiid with a triple-double in that one. They shot the hell out of the three, over 48%. Then you have Pelicans coming off 2 losses in a row at Utah. Prior to that, 5-1, 6-0 against the spread. McCollum, he's questionable to come back here with the lung issue. We'll see. Obviously, probably expecting lesser minutes, especially if it's a lung thing. I mean, typically guys with minutes, they get eased on their way back in. But with that, especially, I'd imagine take it even a bit slower. So we'll see what goes on there if he plays. 76ers, 4-1 the last 5 meetings, but Pelicans got it done last year, New Orleans. They're 7-3 at home this year. This game is New Orleans or nothing. A little bit of a sandwich spot here. 76ers in between primetime games with the Lakers and then Celtics, obviously Eastern Conference rival next. So they're coming off a big win, maybe a little bit of a letdown with the look ahead to Boston, John.
Yeah, that look ahead again. And I don't even call it a sandwich game, as I think the look ahead's just so much more important. Philly basically owns the Lakers. I'm going to think it's 9 out of 10, whatever. They've beaten them now. But the last time, look, Boston and Philly have played twice so far in Philly. Philly won the first one. Boston got them the last time out there. Remember, Boston beat them last year in the playoffs. This is their game. That's what they'll be looking ahead to. Pelicans coming back off a couple of rough L's in Utah. Again, the trend is your friend. We talk about it all the time. Utah had owned the Pelicans in Utah, and they did it again. They beat them twice. Pelicans were playing real nice ball. I believe it was 5-1, 6-0, their last 6 games of that homestand. Well, they will have to return home after 2-game losses in Utah, try to keep that home mojo going against the 76ers team that they just might catch looking ahead. It's Pelicans and nobody for me in this one. And also, I don't know if Ben mentioned you got CJ McCollum should return tonight. Now, he's been out since November 6th. So, again, temper expectations. They'll probably try to break him into the lineup, with unlimited minutes.
Then you have Jazz going on to Memphis, Utah coming off that 2-game sweep against New Orleans. They've been playing decent ball lately, 6-2 against the spread their last 8, just not on the road. 1-7 straight up, 2-6 against the spread. And that's the theme of this game because Memphis not any better at home. 0-8, 2-6 against the spread. So pick your poison. You have one of your worst road teams and your worst home team in the NBA right now going at it. As far as the matchup history, Jazz, they've had all the success. 5 of the last 7 meetings, 6-0-1 against the spread. They beat them twice this season. This would be a Utah or nothing for me. I want no part of laying points with the team 0-8 at home right now, especially in a matchup the Jazz own.
So I circled this game after the, November 10th game. If you guys remember, if you had to beat the bookie member or Massa Edge better member, we bet the Grizzlies in that game. The discrepancy from the free throw line, I believe it was 29 for the Jazz, 13 for the Grizzlies. They teed up Triple J quickly, ejected him. It was an ugly officiated game. Now, Utah went on to win that game. It was the second win because Grizzlies lost in Utah earlier in the season. They got beat up pretty bad in that one also, 133-109. So a little double revenge spot. I had this one circled. Was looking to lay a cheap number. But Jazz are going to be missing Markkanen again. Markkanen is their leading scorer, leading rebounder. With that being said, the number came up higher than I wanted to lay on the Grizzlies. The number now is 4. But also in this game, we've got Clarkson, who missed the game. He missed the first game with Markkanen against the Pelicans, which they went on to win without there because Clarkson, the Jazz second leading scorer. Yep. So they go on to win that game without Markkanen and without Clarkson. Clarkson comes back the second game, and he shoots a horrible, I believe, 4 for 16 or 4 for 15, something like that. But they beat them again. Now, he's going to be questionable. So is Kelly Olynyk. So all of a sudden, without Markkanen, if you got Clarkson out, that's 2 starters. Olynyk comes off the bench or starts, depending on if they have Kessler come off the bench. So you could be down some bodies. Grizzlies, couple of days off, looking, just trying to get that first home win. This could be the spot for it. We'll be waiting on the injuries, and we'll see. This is, again, like I said, I had the Grizzlies circled, but I thought we'd be looking at a 1-2 line tops. But with Markkanen already announced out, you're looking at 4.5.
And we have Rockets at Denver, Houston back-to-back, coming off that loss at Dallas last night. Sengun, another monster game. Houston 8-4, 10-1-1 against the spread their last 12. 0-6 on the road, though. Still haven't gotten it done on the road yet. They've met with the Nuggets twice this season, both in Houston, won both those games. And prior to that, though, Nuggets, they had won 9 straight meetings in Denver, 7-2 against the spread. They're 8-0 at home this season. They're coming off a win where Jokic and Gordon got to kick their feet up and relax back at home. Reggie Jackson turns back the clock. Him and DeAndre Jordan, monster games against the Clippers. It's double revenge spot. Nuggets undefeated at home. They've won 9 straight in the matchup in Denver. Rockets haven't won yet on the road. This is Denver or nothing all the way on this one.
Yeah, the same scenario as Memphis. I've had Denver circled since they lost at Houston last week. Now, we had Houston in that game for the second time beating Denver, and we were flipping the script here. So let's give a shout out to our Massa Edge members. I believe it was Raymond who was saying last night DraftKings has -4, and he wanted to lay it. And I love to see our guys getting the jump and understanding beating the points, beating the numbers. Great. So, big shout out to Raymond. Problem is we're not sure yet if Jokic's going to play. He did not even make the trip to LA when they went and played the Clippers. Was it a scheduled day off? Me and Ben talked about that day, saying, why would they let Jokic play 34 minutes against San Antonio when they were up by 20? Could have cruised if they didn't have already a planned day off. So is it a planned day off? Does he really have some back spasms? Again, as I said, this game's been circled. If the Nuggets are at full strength, and could be even better than full strength with Jamal Murray, questionable comeback, I have this game all of 10. This is double revenge from this year. 2 losses for Denver. Has owned Houston, has owned them in Denver. They're coming off some tough L's. Denver, this is to make their mark. And then you got Houston coming off a tough game last night. So it's just tough to go up into that rare air in Denver on a back-to-back. This is a team that wins by playing defense. You're going to chase the Nuggets around up in Denver now on a night of back-to-back. Going to be a tough order. Everybody in. This is Nuggets 10. But you can't make a bet until Jokic is a 5-point move. While I'm 10, if he's in, I'm 5 with him out. So the other question marks, Aaron Gordon, again, he's missed 2 straight. Is he in? And do we get Jamal Murray back? So it's all about the injury, guys, but I love the guys taking the initiative, seeing what the overnight lines are and saying, I'm jumping on this game. So good job there, guys. Once again, got to wait for official word with the injuries.
You had Clippers and Kings to wrap up this card. Clippers coming off that loss to Denver. No Jokic, no Gordon. They shot 30% from 3. They're now 4-8, 3-9 against the spread their last 12. Not getting it done on the road either. 2-6 there. Kings, I mean, what a letdown spot. You're down by as much as 24 last night to Golden State. Come all the way back. Monk hits the game winner. Very interesting matchup history with these two teams. Very close games. There was one last year that went over 300 points. It was ridiculous.
Went over 350.
350, yeah. So crazy games between these two last year. A lot of them all decided by 1 or 2 points. And that's pretty much where their line is. So just based off the spot alone, I don't want Sacramento. Really tough to come and get up for a game today after last night's game. Don't want the Clippers. They can't beat the Nuggets without anybody. They can't win on the road. They're looking horrendous. I want no part of either in this game, John.
That's a problem with today's pretty much entire card. Sacramento, terrible spot for them coming off the big mountain that they climb to come back. Last second victory. But do you want the Clippers? We just keep saying this team is a mess. So, yeah, it's one of those games. As Ben said, last year we had scores of in Sacramento, Clips won 111-109. Sac won one of the games 128-127. In L.A., the game Ben was talking about, a double overtime game, 176-175 Sacramento. So you've got 3 of the 4 games last year decided by 2 points. Let's expect another one. I just don't know who the winner is. Flip the coin. You got a Sac team on an obvious letdown spot. Clippers just playing that bad. Look, this should be a game that you should want to go in and bet the Clippers. They need a win here. You should catch that team on an emotional down. They got their playoff revenge over the team that knocked them out. It should be the Clippers. But when you look at what the Clippers have done since Harden's come over, and you say, how could it be the Clippers? So it's another one of those games, unless there's a big movement in the line or some injuries, we'll sit this game out.
That is the NBA slate, guys. A rough couple of days to start the week. We'll see if we can get things back on track with this card going on today, and we'll be keeping out for those lines coming up for the in-season tournament. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. John, I don't know if you have anything else here to wrap us up.
No, man, we'll wrap it up with a W. Look, as of right now, I do not have a bet in the NBA. Hopefully, we'll find a spot. We got a couple of leans. We find a spot. We get a W. Get back on the right track. As I said, these next few days, after they're over, we've got a break. So you've got just the playoff basically next week, and then we'll be back to our regular NBA season. We will beat the numbers. We will beat the NBA. Stick with it, guys. Just trust the process.
Appreciate all you guys tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment below, and let's make some money.
Let's make some money.